to talk about today?
Coaching a team member on closing procedures.
Mhm.
I have a high school student, and high school students are a little bit tricky because you want them to be excited and ready for work, you want a great relationship with them, but you also want them to do the job, and I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time with them. I want them to do what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to reflect back on a conversation you had with a high school employee, because
Yes.
you feel it was really important for the sake of your business that this person is able to be independent
Yes,
in what they do.
yes, that I can trust that they're gonna get the job done,
Mhm.
and I don't have to babysit, and I hate that word, but I don't have to oversee or hold accountable,
Yeah,
a simple tasks.
their independence is really important.
Yes, I think so,
Yeah.
and I think they're old enough and responsible enough to do that.
Yeah. So how do you feel that conversation went with that employee?
Sure, I think that it went well. I think the goal of the conversation is for them to correct the action, and I shouldn't worry about the back end, about, how overall do they feel about their job experience, and me as a boss also. And, so I think the action, she corrected what she needed to correct, but on the flip side, I feel like I might become the hated boss,
Mm.
and the one to avoid.
Mm.
But I do think for the sake of the business, it's important for me to hold high school students or any person on the job accountable to what our closing procedures are.
So it was successful in the way that the action was corrected,
Yeah,
which is what
Right.
ultimately you wanted. But the reason why it's still kind of rattling around in your head is that it didn't feel right to you.
yeah, I think that might be true. Yes, I think that might be true for the long run. I want them to know that, what I'm asking them to do is important,
Mhm.
and that I'm not singling them out, and that it's just a quick thing, it's not a personal affront,
Mhm.
that when it's something as simple as even vacuuming at the end of the day, that if I say, hey, it doesn't look back, and go ahead and do that, does not mean that I'm upset with you,
Mhm.
I hate you, or anything, or I don't think you do a good job, or anything like that. I want them just to know that that's what it is, and that's what's, even a simple thing, that's what's need to be done, and I noticed it wasn't, and hey, by the way, can you do it?
Mhm.
And then, hey, I noticed, and next time you do it. So I try to follow up that conversation with positive things next time I see the person.
Mhm.
And I always hope that comes off as that simple task or whatever I asked you to do that wasn't done, that I follow that up with that, hey, but I really like you.
Mhm.
I really like that you're here, I really like the
Mhm.
other things you do. I like to follow that up with, but on the flip side, I don't want them to feel that I'm two-sided. I want that to be pretty transparent, that
Mhm.
when I'm upset with you, and I'll be direct,
Mhm.
not upset with you, but when I don't think the task is done correctly, that I will correct, but on the flip side, that it will not be something to take personally.
Right. So you wanted the corrective action to happen, and it did happen.
Yeah,
You wanted them to be able to feel respected, in respect maybe their word, you wanted them to feel like they were appreciated overall, but that they
Yes.
need to fix this one thing.
right, but not like a bad teacher, or a teacher that, that she's blackballed now because I think she doesn't do a good job.
Alright. However, you left that conversation feeling like you hadn't quite hit that chord that you wished to.
Well, I did question it because, I do see that I'm not the preferred person to be working next to,
Mm.
and that's fine, I guess, that's my role.
So you've identified one cause of why you're not comfortable with that situation, is
Yeah.
the way that she's interacted with you since then.
Mm-hmm.
What have been some other causes for you to feel like that conversation didn't go the way you intended it to go?
Well, with simple tasks, I guess looking back, the simple things that should get done, I might not spend a whole lot of time on it, and I might not have trained the person ahead of time on exactly how I want that to be done. I just, and maybe because at the end of the day and not a lot of time, and all that might come across a little bit too direct, I don't know.
Mm. So you feel like the way you're reflecting back on your own self in terms of that, some of the things that you said may have caused her to feel uncomfortable around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or it's inevitable, I'm not sure,
Mhm. So what other the way that you feel the way that she interacts with you now causes you to believe that.
Yes, yes, it was more like in hindsight in the next steps, that we've still got a little discomfort, even though I've tried to be real positive and personable and, you know, connect with her, reconnect, I guess, again. That's when I felt like maybe the discomfort, or maybe her physical proximity, or body language, or a little bit of an avoidance, kind of a thing might have shown me that maybe that she took it more personally than, you know, than just correct that simple task and like, I can count on you to do that, and let's move on.
So you feel, going back to the original conversation, is there any new learning that, as you're reflecting back, that you would take into a similar conversation that you'll have with her or somebody else like her?
Yeah, I think with her especially, and the thing about it is, I know that every single person is different, and you have to really get to know that person to earn the right to, you know, correct when you need to, and, but what I think I've learned about her is that she's gonna take even something that's small pretty personally, and maybe I need to be preemptive by saying, her name's Carrie. Carrie, before I tell you this, I'm noticing, but I want you to know that I think everything you're doing is great, and, but I'm noticing that you're not spending the time you need to, and it's at the end of the day, I get it. We all wanna go home, but this is something that's affecting, in the morning, the girls are coming in, and it's, you know, something as simple as, I'm using the vacuuming in this example, but, something as simple as vacuuming, somebody else has gotta pick up the ball, or the store looks like, you know, that it's not well taken care of, and our carpet's old. In the future conversation and reflecting back, I would think that, you know, maybe I'll have to preemptive and say, it's not you, but I do think it's my responsibility to tell you what I see and what I need, and so here's what I need from you. Maybe I could phrase it like that, knowing that she's a little bit sensitive.
We seem to be saying that letting them in on the front side about why that's important. That doesn't seem like a random thing, but it seems that helping that might seem small to someone at 7 o'clock at night, you know, is actually very important to somebody at 9:30 in the morning. The next day, and being able to make that connection so that she may not take it personally, but that she sees it as an important part of the bigger picture of what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And it might be something simple like vacuuming, what is the example that we're giving, but atmosphere of a store, and it's in the devil's in the details, and it's atmosphere. And if it's not looking, you know, like the party's gonna happen and that we're store ready and all that in the morning, it really does lend itself, and somebody else has to do it. So
being able to give everybody the big picture, giving everybody the big picture at all times, and trying to take that time to be able to make sure that everybody sees why even some of the details play such a huge role in the big picture of what you're trying to do with your store.
Yeah, but I think for her specifically that I need to preempt with, don't take this personal. Don't take this personally. I know you're gonna know at the end of this conversation that it's really important to me, but you didn't know before. Don't take this personally, just take this as, this is what I need from you.
So two things really, you know, the overall big picture, and then naming it, you know, simply, at least particularly with this particular lady, naming that emotion and naming that, you know, directive of what you're trying to do, that, you know, that don't take this personally, but are two learning things that you're gonna take away from that interaction.
Yeah, and maybe also too, I mean, now that we started to talk about that, and in this conversation, I'm starting to realize and reflect even more. I think it's bringing out some of those things in me about this conversation. Is the other thing is that she might need to know that, hey, this is kind of this thing is a me thing, that, oh gosh, how can I phrase this right? That it's everybody, that vacuuming, or the simple thing that it seems is really important, and that it's not her but anybody. It's been something, you know, like if it's closing procedures, it's been an important thing lately. It's been a hot button for all of us, and that I'm going to be talking to you about this, and I'm also going to be talking to this other closer, and not naming names, but just, you know, everybody's closing, I'm going to be telling this to. So by the way, it's you too. And here it is tonight, it's your turn.
So it can be even bigger than that. You're trying to create a culture where people understand that all those details play an important role into what is going on.
Yeah, all those details play an important role. It's not anything personal. And by the way, this is going to be a broad stroke. I'm talking to everybody.
So when you head into those conversations in the future, what might be some things that you're gonna have to be aware of in yourself to make sure that you're creating that culture where everybody realizes that their attention to detail plays a big role in the big picture.
Yeah, well, I think what we learned here is I need to spend more time, you know, well, gosh, I guess spend more time or just use the right words to portray that.
Where's your thinking now?
I think that I've processed it really well through this conversation with you, and that you brought about a lot of questions that would help me think about that. And as a result, I think that I could grow with knowing how to handle it.
Thanks.